sure so. Oh, we are officially recording now. So, hi, I'm Josh. This is my co-host, the professional idiot, Michael Copenhaver.
That is me, the
Yes,
professional idiot. How you doing this morning, Josh?
I am doing great, Michael. How are you doing, man?
Well, technically it's afternoon, but for me it's morning. I got up a little under an hour ago.
I'm jealous. The last couple of days I have gotten up early and not too happy about it. I'm not an alarm clock kind of guy, but my dogs are my
I know.
alarm clock most of the time.
We've had that conversation before. I was thinking to myself, maybe we shouldn't do noon so you don't have to wake up to an alarm clock. 'Cause I know your theory is if you have to wake up to an alarm clock, something is wrong.
I agree. I adopted that mindset when I got out of the military. I was like, I'm on my schedule now.
I can dig it.
Yes, just real quick, did you want to run your promo? Let the folks out there know what's going on and coming up.
Oh, yes. What you're looking at here is my next live performance in Warren, Ohio, the big city of Warren. We're just north of Youngstown, about 50 miles east of Cleveland. This will be worth the drive. Tickets are $15. You're going to see some of the best up-and-comers in the state and in Pennsylvania and in my area. We are just out to have a great time, and we would love you to come and have a great time with us. That would be fan-double-tastic. Come on out if you like the live comedy. I'm an award-winning stand-up comedian. If you want me to go over my accolades, I can quickly do that, but just message me, and I'll show you some stuff.
I figured they would get to know you and see how funny you are the more we converse. So this is something new for Michael and I, and we're just gonna pop off with some conversation. Yeah, so we're gonna steer clear of the small talk. But Michael, the other week you had brought up to me that you had an interesting theory on the Bible and who the real enemy is compared to who the real hero is in that story.
Let's start off with dividing the audience. I like your style, brother.
Yes, get into it.
My theory is Lucifer is the hero of the Bible story of Genesis because Lucifer encourages learning, knowledge. Knowledge is power. What is the best way to keep a population ignorant and keep them docile and keep them controllable, keep them dumb? Look at Stargate, right? The Stargate story. You remember the movie Stargate?
Vaguely. I know Kurt Russell was in it. I understand the plot. I don't remember the
Spader
exact
was in
details. Who was it?
Well, Spader was in it too, James Spader. Robert California.
Okay, yeah. Yes.
So they go through the Stargate into this other alternate Egypt or whatever, and they're not allowed to learn to read or write. That's how the powers that be keep them under control.
Well, I mean, you can even use a more realistic analogy. You can look at
Like Saudi Arabia.
Like Saudi Arabia does that. The Antebellum South during chattel slavery here in
Antebellum South. Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely right.
They kept the slave populace dumb so they can keep them under control. Now I agree with you when it comes to the Genesis story. I mean, the Bible itself, of course, is a collection of different books, really. But the Genesis story, I agree. I would say the Lucifer, the Satan figure, or the snake figure is more the hero than the God. Just for the simple fact that I think you can point out what a therapist would recognize today as emotional or mental abuse or manipulation.
You mean of Lilith, right?
What's that?
You mean of Lilith, right?
Of Lilith. Well, I'm talking more like toward Eve and Adam in the book of Genesis. For instance,
Lilith got the raw deal, bro. They're fine. She got the shafty shaft. She was such a bad wife, she got written out of the story.
Oh man, that's why I can't stand the Abraham religions. I think I think they're built on, again, a guilt trip, of emotional manipulation. So if I were to say, okay, let's say I'm a father, I'm a dumb father with a 2-year-old kid that shouldn't have a kid, obviously. But let's say I leave that 2-year-old kid in its crib during nap time, and what I leave in there with that kid is a couple airplane bottles of Jack Daniels. Let's say 5 of them, all unopened, and I just leave them in there. All a couple hours go by, go check on my 2-year-old. Up, go in there, alcohol poisoning, dead. Goes goes to the court, and his defense is, well, Your Honor, I told him not to do it, so therefore it's his fault that he did it. So that is basically the story of Genesis. God is sitting there telling Eve and Adam, hey, don't eat from that tree of knowledge, or that tree that you'll know things. And at the same time, ignoring the fact, well, the people reading the story is ignoring the fact that when God is telling Adam and Eve this, that they are ignorant. They're not knowledgeable. They don't understand the words or whatever's coming out. Because remember, they haven't eaten from the knowledge of the tree yet. So they're dumb. They're like a toddler. They don't understand shit. God goes away, sits on his recliner, clicks on the fucking TV, watches the sports game, and Eve's like, let's go check out this tree. And of course, you had the snake there, not manipulating. I don't want to say manipulating. That's wrong, but letting this person know, like, hey, if you wanna know things and understand things, eat the fruit. It's not actually bad to be knowledgeable.
There's a larger world out there, Eve. Let's check it out.
Yeah. This, you can actually make reference to Plato's cave analogy with that.
Oh, yeah, the cave. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and if anybody's
for folks that aren't familiar, you want to walk us through that really quick?
Yeah. So, just real quick, Plato's cave theory, and this is just very simplified because I don't remember verbatim, but basically, some dudes are in a cave. They can see the shadows that is coming from a fire and things behind them. They just see the shadows. That's all they see. They don't really understand what's going on until one day they come out of the cave and it's this whole fucking world. And that's kind of like in the book of Genesis when Eve and Adam eat the fruit of knowledge, or whatever you want to call it. It's kind of an eye opener. And I agree. I think that God in this story is the atrocious one, is the bad guy, because he's keeping. I don't care if somebody uses the excuse, well, he created them. You can't sit there and create somebody, give them free will and autonomy, then punish them for exhibiting that. That is, right, again, more manipulation. It's guilt tripping.
So you and we see absolutely eye to eye on the same concept right there.
Yeah.
And I wasn't aware of that. And real quick, I want to preface. So 8 minutes, 8 seconds in, the marker. I'm here in no way, shape, or form to disparage anybody's religion. If it gets you through the day, I'm happy for you for that. Honestly, it doesn't bother me one bit, and I'm not here to run it down. I personally I don't need that.
I
People
agree.
will say, oh, well, where did Jesus preach?
I don't know.
Wherever he was. He didn't go in a building. Yeah. He didn't ask for no goddamn money.
Yeah, I'm not sure your actual belief in a God. I'm a non-believer through and through. But I agree.
Is it just that it's called God, or you just don't believe in any higher power whatsoever?
I don't believe in any higher. I'm a materialist, realist. I don't believe anything outside the natural world. So I have no supernatural beliefs.
So you don't think the universe has a plan?
No. I think I use that word a lot because it's fun. I don't really believe in like faith or karma, or I believe coincidences. A serendipitous experience is, to me, a very surprising and happy coincidence. But it's still a coincidence. I just think it's a happy coincidence, like a happy accident.
They're happy.
But I do agree with Michael when you say that, hey, if people need their beliefs to help them cope, help them with the world, like, I get it. The world sucks and we all need cope. That's why I smoke the dope. But that's what the point I want to make. You can have your religions. You can be happy with them. by all means, but there has to be a part of you that's got to understand. You have got to affirm or understand that part of that is because it's something you need to get through the day. Just like, people picking up a needle. I'm not saying, and I'm not suggesting go pick up a needle. That's not what I'm saying.
Not condoning that at
I'm
all.
saying, no, I'm not even condoning believing in any sort of religion or God. I'm not condoning that either. I'm just saying, if you do, be aware why you're doing it. Just like you don't want a heroin addict pushing heroin on your kids. Don't push your religion on my kids. Kind of what I'm saying.
That I can understand.
Yeah.
What I did was with my children, right? I don't have kids. I have adults now. My daughter's 25. My son, he'll be 24 this year.
All my kids. Well, my youngest one he just turned 16. So
that's a fun time. Can I borrow the car?
Unfortunately, he lives in a different state with his mom.
God, I'm sorry to hear that. I had the same situation, brother. It sucks.
That is life sometimes, my friend.
Yeah, that's life. Life's a pile of shit. We're supposed to eat it and say, yum, yum. Who's the chef? I'll have seconds.
Mm-mm.
But free will and all that. It's like training a dog. The one thing I hate it when people do, and I get it, you're just showing control or whatever, dominance. But when people put that treat on the floor and watch their dog losing their fucking mind to be released to get that treat, and you can see the slobber just salivating and salivating, it's like, man, you're fucking rude. Give the dog the treat, man. He's shook. He loves you daily, you son of a bitch. Give him a treat.
Oh man, right? It's like the carrot or the stick. It's like you either get hit, do as I say, or you get hit with the stick, or do as I say, and then you'll get this treat, a carrot. I think there's a third option. Give me the fucking carrot and then I'll help you out. Or leave me the fuck alone.
One hand washes the other. Oh, you have to control me. Why do you have to be my master? Just be my buddy.
I hear people say that, man. It's either the stick or the carrot. I'm like, why can't there be a third option? Why can't there be some like you said, a hand in hand, like I help you out, you scratch my back, I scratch your back. Yeah,
swimming in dangerous waters with those kind of thoughts.
I know.
A barn raising? No. You pay me to do it.
Man. This is why people accuse me of being a far left socialist Marxist. They're not wrong, but that's why they accuse me.
Well, that and Fox News told them to.
Right.
Something you'd mentioned is be aware, for people to be aware of why they believe what they believe or why they choose to, engage in religiosity. And again, it doesn't offend me. It used to offend the shit out of me. I'll tell you a story that our listeners are not going to like about me, and that's okay. I'm not this person anymore. Let's preface that. Not this person anymore. But when I first got on YouTube, they used to do these things where you'd get an instant message. This is a kid. They show a picture of a kid looking real sick and stuff, Every time you share this, he gets one more second on dialysis. Do you remember those?
Those are huge on Facebook. They're like chain letter type crap.
Right. And that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
My response always was, I don't do this anymore because I realize it didn't bring me any happiness whatsoever. Who am I to judge on these people? But I would say, What are you doing? You're out of your mind. You're going against God's will here. God wants that kid dead. What if that kid's the next Hitler? What's wrong with you? And people would just be shocked and horrified by that, as they should be. That's a terrible way to look at it. But I was just wanting to try to show them their own hypocrisy, right? In God's name, do this, or in God's name, do that. Well, according to you, your God has a plan. Why are you trying to thwart his plan? What are you, an agent of the devil? And people did not like that kind of logic.
In one vein, they're like, "Oh, I just let Jesus take the wheel." But in the other vein, thoughts and prayers, because that's basically what it is.
Happens.
Yeah, like share this picture again, a thought in a prayer, and they'll get an extra second on time. That's all it is. It's thoughts and prayers. This is why I don't take stock in anything people say that's exists outside the natural world. Because every time somebody pleads or special pleading to something outside the natural world to fix things in the natural world, that's all it is. It's thoughts and prayers. Nothing happens. Like thoughts and prayers don't fix anything. Action, things we do in the real world fixes things we break in the real world.
I can't remember who the comedian is, but one of my favorite bits that this particular comedian does. I'll try to remember, and if I can pull it out of my brain, I'll share it with you so you can put it in the comments or whatever. But
I'm sure I probably heard it. It's probably where I got that from, because a lot of my current philosophy was built off listening to lectures and other people, even comedians. George Carlin being one of them. I don't
oh
agree
my
with
God,
everything he
George
said,
Carlin is my spirit animal, dude. Everything I know about politics, I learned from George Carlin. I'm not joking. I wish I was joking. That's true.
Yeah.
Everything I know about politics, I learned from George Carlin. And I was
George
like,
George Carlin is definitely somebody to listen to. He doesn't have
he's
all the
on my
answers.
Mount Rushmore. He's on my Mount Rushmore.
I would definitely supplement any stand-up comedian, this is no offense to Michael, with actual, hey, they say a funny joke that makes you think, go look into that thought. Go find out where that thought come from. It's usually there's somebody out there with a college degree, professor, philosopher, somebody that can go even deeper into that and have a better explanation, because some people walk away from a joke. I think they're not actually understanding the joke. They'll laugh at like the surface level of the joke, like the fart component or something.
Right.
But they're not laughing at the
second or third layer.
Yeah,
they realize is there.
Yeah, like it's human nature. We're in this situation and that happens. And there's this like, somebody explained what a good joke was to me one time, and I have a hard time putting in the words, but it's basically the analysis or the teasing or the pointing out of like less here and more here, and the contrast between those good and bad. There's a better way to explain that, and I wish I had that off the top of my head.
But not every joke's a compare and contrast.
Later on, it's true, very true. Yeah. Well, yeah, not every joke is.
That's the thing. I'm my number one saying. There's more than one way to skin the comedy cat. My jokes don't have layers. I don't really tell jokes. I tell stories. I'm a storyteller. I tell stories from my life.
Yeah, and but your stories have a layer. I mean, there's the comedy component, there's the lesson component, and then there's sharing who you are component. Like there's definitely layers there. Depends on how you tease it out.
But I mean, those layers don't generally pertain to the punchline.
Gotcha.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to. The last thing I want to do is try to make anyone think. Because before I started traveling for comedy, I mean, I've been coast to coast at this point now, from the Atlantic all the way to the Pacific. And I used to think 3 out of 5 people were a complete moron. None of our listeners, of course. But then I traveled a lot. I'm lying. Then I traveled a lot. You're a moron too. That's why you're listening to us.
We're morons.
I started traveling a lot, and then I realized I was way off. It's not 3 out of 5. It's like 4.5 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
People are so willfully ignorant. It blows my mind. And to spit the rest of that thought out, it's like you said, be aware of why you believe in this or whatever. And that's the problem. I don't think a lot of people think critically anymore. There's no critical thinking in our society because the CIA and their whole programming on television, right? They've bred that out of us, basically. Just beat it out of us, browbeating it out of us by just sit in front of the idiot box, listen to what we tell you to listen to, think the way we tell you to think, and everything's going to be A-okay. Self-awareness is out the window.
And this is going on the heels of the self-awareness thing. Have you ever deconstructed a belief that you've been taught? You don't know why, like you've been taught like a belief in something you've been taught by your parents. They never told you why it's good to believe in it or anything, but you just accept it because it's your parents and you trust your parents. And later on in life, you're a young adult and that belief pops in or it comes up in a conversation and you get some time on your own and you deconstruct it. You're like, okay, why do I believe this? Who told me this? Why did they tell me this? Is there any evidence or any supporting facts or
All
even
empirical evidence in my
even
life points
rational.
to this isn't right.
Yeah. I mean, I've deconstructed beliefs that I still hold today. Doesn't mean I got rid of them. It's just I deconstruct them. It's like, okay, I have this belief. Why do I have it? And is this belief worth holding on to? Does it hold water, basically? Because a lot of people got beliefs that they walk around in a bucket with holes in and no water is held.
No, but they
And
are watering the crops, and we need that.
this is true. Well, okay. When my young 18-year-old self, when I joined the Air Force, my first duty station was Utah, right down the highway from Salt Lake City. Huge Mormon influence on that entire state, the government and everything.
The stronghold.
Yeah, so running into a person from the LDS, wrong.
LDS, Latter-day Saints.
LSD is better than LDS though. Anyway,
every
you
day
would
and
run
twice
into them
on Sunday.
either, or they'd be knocking on your door, and I decided one day to let one in and just, okay, she was selling magazines, Mormon magazines. I don't know why she was in the dorm. She wasn't supposed to, but I let her in my room because she was hot. I talked to her. Nothing happened. I was a gentleman, but she was an attractive woman, and I wanted to be like, well, I'm going to give, she wants to talk, I'm going to listen to her. That's what you do. You listen. So I listened. And nothing went, I didn't buy any magazines. I just think for the conversation. I was more intrigued just by what she said. And I got thinking about it. It's like, okay, so the Mormons, they go by this whole Abraham construction of Jesus and all this too. But sometime in the 1800s, they added a whole new book, like a continuum of the Holy Bible. And I'm like, wait a second. I had never really thought about that. I always knew the First and Old Testament. I really didn't even know at this time that the Old Testament was technically the Hebrew Bible. Of course, translated. I got to think, and I'm like, wait a second, what other religions do this type of shit? So I started looking into things, Pentecostals, Methodists. Anyway, I learned about Puritanism, where all these evangelical religions came from, and all that. And I thought about it. In 2,000 years of this idea, 2,000 years ago, and actually, if you look at it even farther than that, has changed so much. The human history, and people who have those beliefs today will sit there and say it's never changing, but it has. Like, it literally has. And so, in that year, that first year being in Utah, I was like, this is all bullshit. This is all fucking bullshit. This is all bullshit. This is all bullshit. And so that's when I stopped believing in God. I still had my supernatural beliefs. I did believe in karma there for a little bit. What goes around comes around. But eventually, I shredded all those. But yeah, that whole, see, I didn't even go with the mindset, organized religion is bad because it's controlling, it's this and this and this. There's definitely some components to that there, but the belief itself, the tangibility of those beliefs, of some sky daddy in outer space or some other plane of existence is pulling the strings, but at the same time as he's pulling the strings, I have the free choice to ignore those. It's just too convoluted. It was too convoluted. So
a being that can create the universe in 7 days, I'm sorry, 6 days, and then kick it for a day, does not need me to love him.
That's another thing. if he's so powerful and strong and will and knowledgeable and knows everything, does everything, blah blah blah. If we take him out of school, like, I don't know how you take something like that out of anything if he's always there. Why are you fucking crying about it? Like, what? I mean, is he weak then at the end of the day? If me not acknowledging him is going to hurt your feelings and somehow offend him, it doesn't seem very, very powerful at all.
Not godlike.
More
deconstruct.
Good.
I deconstructed my beliefs at a young age, and I didn't know I was doing it. It was a subconscious thing. I was a very inquisitive child. Still, I'm an inquisitive adult. I want to learn as much as humanly possible. That's just me. I believe that if you stop learning, you stop living. That's just one of my personal philosophies. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that's right for me, if that makes sense.
No,
Now,
it makes sense.
I'm in Sunday school. I'm young, 7, maybe 8, probably 7. And I'm laughing in the face of the Sunday school teacher as she's explaining this ridiculous Bible shit. And she got so mad at me, I got kicked out and I was not allowed to go back. Because
I'm getting a cross-eyed look.
I basically, as a wee little one, told her, "Are you out of your mind? Do you even hear what you're saying? You believe this? Are you crazy?" And then ha ha in her face, laughing at her, like she believes that. And yeah, I didn't know I was doing it at the time. It was just subconscious. I don't know. I've always been more analytical than anything else.
Yeah. I've gotten cross-eyed. I do want to track back to that word analytical. I had an incident in Sunday school. I was around 12 or 13. My parents didn't go to church because of the family dynamics. I had a sister that had disabilities, but I would go with a friend. A friend asked me if I wanted to go. I was like, sure. I was a curious kid. I remember sitting in Bible school and the Noah story bringing up, and I just had questions. Things didn't make sense to me. And I didn't get kicked out. I didn't get yelled at or scolded. But, thinking back, I just the way the adult was acting, they didn't know how to answer my questions because they had never asked those questions.
It's a matter of faith.
Yeah.
You just
at
believe.
that moment in my life as a 12, 13-year-old kid, I didn't think about that. Now, as an adult, I can think back like, oh, man, it wasn't me that had the problem. It was that adult in the room teaching us kids that had the cognitive problem. And I hope that person's better nowadays.
Well, there's a built-in dissonance from reality and faith. It's built in that whole Genesis story. Don't question. Just do as I say. Don't worry about a thing. I'm going to take care of you. This, that, and the other. All that bullshit is there to make you not question.
To you, what is the definition of faith? And I'm just asking you as a non-believer. I mean, I have my definition. It probably tracks about the same.
It's just the infallible, immutable belief in something, whatever it is. That's faith, whatever that thing is. Some people put their faith in science. Some people put their faith in technology. Some people put their faith in other people. Wrong thing to do. But it's just an infallible, immutable belief inside of somebody that drives them to do irrational things.
Yeah.
Or
you're
think
not
irrational
wrong.
things.
I think the biblical definition of faith is believing in something with no evidence. And that's basically, I mean, it's not written like that, but you can tease it out of the.
Sure. Parse it out, boil it down.
I like how you brought up science and other people, though, having faith and that kind of stuff. All right. So, first of all, words are fun. I like words. I know I'm also from a network that also finds words hard because words are hard too, but they're fun. Words are fun because a single word can have multiple contextual definitions. Like the word cool can mean cool to the touch, like not so much freezing cold, but not warm, less than room temperature.
Context
or
comes
cool,
in.
Or cool as in, dude, that's awesome, that's dope, hell yeah. Now the word faith is like this too. Word faith is like this. When you're talking in the biblical sense, the word faith means believing in something with no evidence. When I think in a more colloquial way to use the word when we talk about faith in people or science, I think what we're really doing synonymously with the word confidence level. Like
Right. People have no faith in the economy.
Yeah.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah, but I mean, I have confidence that this chair that I bought last week is going to hold up at least for a year or so without me falling over on me. I have that faith. It's not because I have no evidence. It's just prior experience, knowing what chairs are, how things are constructed materially, builds that confidence of that faith in something. But again, that's different from faith being used in the biblical sense when there's no empirical evidence, there's no substance there to even have confidence level when you're talking about the biblical faith, because it expressly points out that it's the belief with no evidence. So I think there's a difference there. I think that's important to point out when people are having conversations, because that word gets thrown out a lot. And I've seen and been in conversations with theists that they only use that word to only mean what the Bible says, while ignoring how words work, basically. So you look puzzled there.
I had to reset for a second.
Because if I say something it doesn't make sense off the bat,
it was
please.
What you said was space theist. And in my brain, I heard I had a conversation with a fetus.
Oh, I'm sorry, a theist.
No, yeah. It finally caught up.
Got you. Sometimes, if I'm on a tangent, I can speed up.
I don't hear the best. I'm old.
Fair enough.
If we were in the same room, this wouldn't be an issue. But we got to go. We got to go parsing out from distance because of our geographic location.
That's why I put my speakers up against my ear.
I should start doing that. I should start.
Hey, of course we don't get sponsored by JBL, but these things, they're not cheap. I invested these last year. They don't go in your ear. They rest on the outside and they're flexible. Anyway, they're dope. And I can Bluetooth to both my laptops or a laptop on my phone and use them. It's so crazy. Anyway, moving on from that. I'm a gadget guy. I like gadgets.
No worries. So how about all the root stories from just about every last religion on the planet begin with a flood myth?
So I am not a historical. I'm not theoristically. I'm illiterate when it comes to like a lot of history of religion. I'm familiar with a little bit, but nothing I'd rest my reputation on. I would have to look up some references that I would go to, but from what I understand, even like the Abrahamic religions are even influenced by stories or religions older than it. That's what you're talking about, like if you look at different places around the world around the same time, they all have a flood story.
Yes, the flood myth, exactly right. Mm-hmm. And it's global, supposedly without interconnectivity. But how do we know that?
So, all right, this is just
what's me. The pyramids, right?
This is just me
pyramids in Mesoamerica.
Yeah.
Contemporary. Mm-hmm. Yet so far apart. What is it with that ziggurat construction that fascinates man and working with such big, heavy stones? Explain that to me like I'm a 6-year-old. Why is that happening at the same time, tens of thousands of miles apart?
Because humans, no matter where we're located, we're still the same species and our brains pretty much operate the same way. We face challenges and we build tools to face those challenges. I mean, if you look at the pyramids, I can see how they're all pyramids, but they're still structurally different. They're all based on the same sort of physics, geometry, whatever. When you're stacking, big base at the bottom, you go up, skinny. Like, I can see how if you watch a child play in the playground, they'll come up with shit like that, So I don't see how, like, it's some big mystery. I mean, humans, we're not dumb beings.
Modern brick houses are made with toteable bricks.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they using these 20-ton giant megalith blocks.
I don't know. I
And
don't
how the
know.
hell were they doing it? It's things like that are what really stick in my craw. It's like
Okay,
I
so
hate to go straight to Ancient Aliens. I hate to go straight to Ancient Aliens.
I want to, before we go to ancient aliens, I
Yeah.
rip them for existing. I want to touch back on the flood myth quick.
Okay.
All right, so climate, we all understand what climate is. It's the movement of water on this fucking planet. That's what basically climate is. So when we talk climate change, we're talking about how the water is being moved around in this world and how it's become inaccessible for people. However, back during, you look at all these old religions that have flood stories, all these old religions, when they think of the world, their idea of the world is the region they live in. It's just that region. To them, like all of the Middle East would be the world for those people
Sure.
that live there.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. I give you that. Yeah.
Okay, so when climates move on this whole world, like you can get flooding in multiple places at the same time, or even like what's that word after one after another, not consistency. Anyway,
Consecutive.
consecutively. Thank you. So this storm or whatever can move around the world and flood all these different places, and they can all have their own flood myths. I would think that's how those myths came about. Just they
But
don't understand climate, and so they were like, "Hey, God flooded us, man."
I'm going to give you a small bit of information
Mhm.
that may change your mind on that theory a little bit. I hear what you're saying, and
Okay.
you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong.
Mhm.
That's an interesting way to look at it. Just the redistribution of water everywhere. That's weather. Not exactly, but yeah.
That's
That's
the
I
climate.
really
That's climate. That's what climate
well,
is.
time is weather patterns
Yeah.
basically, and the weather patterns can go from dry to wet and all this and other things. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's just the redistribution of water everywhere. That's a really interesting way to look at it.
Yeah.
I've never heard that one before. That was a good one. But
Yeah, I wish people would think about it like that. I think this climate change would make more sense to people if that was the case.
included in the flood myths
Mhm.
are a savior who returns from the sea after the flood, the Noah figure,
Mhm.
and other populations otherwhere. They're different things.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a fish, sometimes it's a bird, but they always come from the sea. Even the bird thing, it came like it flew in from the sea, like an albatross or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, that teaches them things and shows them what society can be, and gives them knowledge, forgotten, lost
Mhm.
knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that I find to be interesting as well.
Hmm.
They all have it. It's not like it's unique to just a handful. And there's more in now. This is my humble opinion. And I'm not screaming ancient aliens. That's not who I am.
You
But
need to fix your hair to do that.
so to really parse this out for you, okay. Are you familiar with the Silurian hypothesis? Silurian, Silurian, the Silurian hypothesis.
I am. I am not. I am not familiar with this Cyperlian. You said
Silurian. Are you a Doctor Who fan?
Silurian. Um, some of the older ones, I'm not. Again, I think Doctor Who's cool.
So
I'm not around to watch.
The
Oh, yeah,
Silurians
yeah, yeah. Okay.
were a race that were like super, super ancient, and then they refound them or whatever. Like they'd hidden away or whatever, and then they came
Mhm.
back. They were this great civilization that was there eons before they were, but all vestiges of their existence there was gone on the surface because that shit isn't forever and permanent.
Mhm.
So the Silurian
Mhm.
hypothesis here on Earth is that there may have been many great, great, great civilizations that had far more advanced technology than we did. And then they did what people do and killed themselves.
I think there's a
Not
bit of
not to
Atlantis.
zero,
Yeah.
but that's a restart. It's a reboot.
Yeah. If you look at human, oh God, what's that sign? I always fuck the science up. I want to say astronomy, but it's not astronomy. Anthropology. Anthropology, study of like the history of
Very
human
different thing.
evolution. Yeah, very different thing. Very different thing. It just anthropology doesn't fall off the tongue because I don't use the word a lot. It's not used a lot because For some reason, I find myself in conversations that people think biology is like the end all be all of science. It's so weird that they ignore the other sciences.
It's the be
But
all end all of living science.
well, I mean, well, then there's chemistry and physics. Anyway,
That falls into biology.
yeah.
I'm listening.
So, there's definitely some there's a delineation there. However, so throughout human history, there was a bottleneck. This is actually something that's been popping up from this lecture that I listened to on anthropology. I've been meaning to listen to, but the human existence, we bottlenecked at one time. Like 95% of us died the fuck off. So I can see what you mean by, we didn't go to zero, but we went down to a very small percentage. And I can see how after we hit that bottleneck and then we start expanding more and we start rediscovering these other places around the world that humans once already existed. I can see how that can kind of lead to this whole ancient technology and stuff like that. I just think it's interesting. I think there's definitely some technologies that humans came up with that we've discovered recently that we're like, oh, I didn't realize we were that smart centuries or thousands of years ago. But we are. Humans are logical beings. It's bad. It's a matter if it's good logic or bad logic. And I think there's like a 20% rule. And I'm making this up. This is just a hypothesis I have. I like about 18 to 20% of human population all at any given time is really the non-herd. Like they're outside the herd. Those are the ones help spurring some of these ideas and thoughts and stuff. And the rest,
That half to 1 out of 5. You're
yeah,
exactly correct.
and that other 80%, we're doers. I mean, some of us, raise our heads up and ask questions and stuff, but I think there's a very few that that actually, what's that one? Like the Newtons and the Da Vinci's and
They have the chance to really
Einsteins.
change the world and make it better than they found it.
Yeah, exactly. Or they like contributed some crazy ideas and inventions, and I say crazy because during their time they were absolutely crazy. But we look back now,
like Da Vinci's helicopter.
They were geniuses. Exactly. So I think humans have always had these ideas. It's just we haven't always been able to put them to practice because of the technological unadvantages we've had in the past compared to what we have now.
So to bring it full circle, here's my next thought. Is it possible that these God figures returning from the sea to give man their, knowledge, is it possible they tell them, just don't ask questions. Here's what you got. Don't think too much on it. Otherwise, you'll end up like we did. You'll end up killing yourselves.
God, that sounds like the whole Ridley Scott aliens plot there, if you think about it. Prometheus and Romulan, yeah.
It's circuitous. We're destined to do it. It's going to happen. We try to stop ourselves with every reboot, but people going to people.
Yeah. I am so, okay. I said there's a part of me that gets so frustrated with the way the world is today. And it's like, you just want to go around shaking people some sense. And it was like, hey, man, what is wrong with you? But
why do we allow this?
Speaking, but realistically speaking, this is just human nature. This is like, we'll get out of this period and we'll get better, and it depends on what part of the world you're at. It
depends on your definition of better.
Yeah, well, true. But it's a constant evolution, and I think we're on track for another possible bottleneck event. Not like anytime soon, not in our lifetime, not in our grandkids' lifetime, but I'd say within the next couple of centuries.
I think it's far more likely in our lifetime.
A couple centuries to 1,000 years. Yeah. Unless something changes right now, we're destroying the world the way we
But we are making America great again.
Some might disagree.
You said very sarcastically.
I know you did.
Man, it's pouring. Can you hear the rain, dude?
I can't. No.
I think I might have said the wrong thing. I'm getting flooded out here.
Oh, oh man. I don't know if anybody out there knows, but rain is like the best nap time for this stoner right here. Give me some rain. You give me a joint, dude. Oh, a nice cup of fucking chamomile lavender tea.
Unless I'm camping. Do not give me rain camping.
Yeah, true.
Love to camp, hate the rain. I'm telling you right now, wet socks are the bane of my existence, dude.
If you're willing to spend, I only have one pair because I was only going to spend $25 for one. But I have a pair of rainproof socks or waterproof socks that I wear when I'm hiking.
Wow, never heard of them.
They're lined with some sort of neoprene mixed with some other fabric. I like to go explore caves sometimes, and sometimes there's water that goes up over my ankles, and so I'll throw those on. I'll keep them on my back. I don't wear them out all the time. I just throw them on when I need to. Swap them out. Yeah.
Well, so that's my theory.
Okay.
And that's all that it is. It's only a theory. I can't prove it. I'm not an archaeologist. I'm not Indiana fucking Jones. I'm not globe trotting all over the place, digging shit up in Cairo. I don't have that kind of cash.
Yeah. Oh, it's the same way with my 20% hypothesis of human smart people at any given time. There's only a few of us. So when I say few, I don't mean like, I know you were like, what, 4.5 earlier? Is what like 4.5 out of 5 people?
Oh, yeah.
See, I'm a little bit more optimistic than that. I think, yeah, I'm probably a little bit more liberal. That's why I say 20%. I would say
that's the optimist in you. Don't worry. Yeah. The world will beat that out of you in the next 5 or 6 years.
Well, see, it's funny. I was talking to this woman a couple years ago, and she asked me, "Are you an optimist or are you a pessimist?"
Words are hard.
Like, yeah, sometimes they are. And I was like, I'm neither. And she's like, but those are the only two choices. I was like, no, there's not. I was like, I'm realist. I mean, I look at the situation and then I make a determination if I should be optimistic or pessimistic about it. You know?
She would never be the stork with the glass and the pebbles. She would never ever get to that point.
No.
That's terrible. Probably blows her mind.
Yeah, she'd stare at the glass and hope it would rain. Serious. And she is a lovely person. So Carmen, if you ever listen to this, you're an awesome person. That one question fucking ruined my brain in that moment. Don't think binary. That's what I want to talk. You had brought up analytical thinking earlier. There's what's known as analytical thinking, and I've also learned something earlier. It's called dialectical thinking. Best way to explain it, unless you or understand Hegel dialectics or anything like that, it's basically not falling into the trap of binary thinking. That's the easiest explanation. Simplify it the way I can. Like I brought up the whole pessimistic, optimistic versus realistic. There's not always just two answers. If your brain is telling you there's only two answers to choose from, your brain is probably not setting you up for success. So, yeah.
Couldn't agree more. Adapt and overcome.
Mm-hmm. There's
Alexander the Great, not classic dialectical thinker.
Yes, absolutely.
Genghis Khan.
Amen. Well, he was just an asshole too, but
and he wasn't. If you gave him a reason to not like you, oh my gosh, you and your whole family are fucked. But do the right thing. Just fall in line. Genghis Khan, like the Romans, much later. Or no, before. Either way, before. Allowed whatever your religion is, that's fine. That's just a reason for you not to want to be part of the Mongol horde. No problem. Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
That was pretty progressive for his time. Plus, when he raided in, right, he didn't just kill everybody immediately. He gave you a chance to conscript. And that was
Yep,
pretty
I
rare.
think,
Alexander
and I
did the
think,
same, but I mean, for the most part, he
mhm,
did it just because it was under threat of force. Like that's the common misconception. People think that the Mongols had numbers always. They rarely had numbers. They were beating armies well outnumbering them, just like Alexander the Great did.
they also use, from what I understand, um, tactical wise, like both of those individuals are pretty fucking smart when it comes to.
No,
So it wasn't. You're right. It wasn't just the size of their armies. It's how they employed them in a tactical way. So yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
My favorite Genghis Khan story. They're trying to siege a city, and they don't have siege weapons. They're a cavalry army. So they get this idea: how about we divert the river and we'll flood the fuckers?
Yeah.
And they were so bad at it, they flooded their own camp.
You you had brought up the you brought up the idea of they gave them the chance to either conscript or be taken by force. Do you think that's kind of what the current admin in the U.S. is doing to like the countries with like Canada and Greenland? I know Greenland's not a country; it's a territory of Denmark. But
Oh, you're talking about the tariffs?
no, not just the tariffs, just the idea of them becoming American or U.S. territory or states, and
The
saying
vassal.
stuff like join us, and the option of military force is still on the table if you say no, type thing. Like, that seems to me it's like either you conscript or be dealt militarily.
All right, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't watch the news because I feel like that there's no good news and
Mm-hmm.
there's enough in the world to be sad about. I just
Mm-hmm.
avoid that whole operation.
Fair
Is there
enough.
a
Fair
possibility
enough.
we're
Fair
about to
enough.
go to war with Canada? Is that what you're telling me?
I don't think so. I don't see it actually going that far. I think the guy
But Trump is
in
like
office is,
strong. Trump is strong arming Canada right now.
yeah, with tariffs and
With tariffs,
not
I agree, but
taking
I couldn't agree more with the
and
tariffs.
not and when questioned about military occupation, he said that is not off the table, especially when talking about Greenland. So they're saying stuff like we need those places for national security, like we need Greenland for our security type sort of rhetoric.
Right, because
Yeah.
those dirty
So
Europeans are going to come and get us.
yeah, yeah. Well,
The
this is the thing.
Vikings are
They're our
coming.
allies. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out when it comes to authoritarian leadership, because I mean, respect respect the Mongolian leader or Alexander. God, what was the Mongolian leader again? Genghis Khan. I mean, respect his tactical skills, how he waged war, how he took over territory. But at the end of the day, he was still a fucking authoritarian, imperialistic asshole. You know,
Well,
so
you have to be to do what
regardless,
you do.
it, but why? But why have to do that? Like why? Like my point is
Conquerors
like
aren't nice
why
people.
do we have to like it's like in our lizard brains, like the majority of us, we think we have to live under some sort of government or control or authority or whatever you want to call it.
But
Like
we're
there's
looking at
this.
this from two very different eyes.
Mhm,
Both, we are in a very different time period and we are in a very different culture.
mhm,
In his period, in his time, in his culture, he was the best Mongol you could be.
mhm. Yeah, no, and I get that, but if you look at the MAGA movement as a culture, what Trump is doing is good, is the best he can be.
But
I'm not
it sounds like we're becoming South Korea though.
more like
I
North
don't
Korea.
want South Korea here.
Yeah, but
I mean
yeah,
North,
it's
North
just
Korea,
so
North Korea. I just
yeah.
said some really dumb shit. I'm a
You're good. You're
moron.
good.
North Korea.
You're good. But I will say this
Okay at best.
before we start winding this down. I just wanted to highlight that because you brought that up, Genghis Khan and, and taking over territories and stuff. And part of being a tactician is not just being a leader and taking over territory isn't just about military force. There's rhetoric one can use as well. And I'm sure that was employed as well, or what some people would say deal making, negotiations, etc. So,
Oh yeah. It wasn't always by force. Yeah, he was a skilled diplomat, believe it or not.
I believe he was more skilled than the current guy in charge right now. I agree, 100%. I've watched
So,
Bill and Ted. I'd much rather have Genghis Khan leading us.
right, totally thrashed.
Diggly wiggly.
Um, the Mongols, long thought to be, barbarians, fools, just murderous monsters. They ate raw meat, and that was one of the reasons that they got that. You know, uh, how they pulled that off?
How? Well, probably
They
just
were
ate it.
so fucking smart. They knew if they put the meat under their saddles, bam, 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 they're tenderizing the shit out of that meat all day long. And what that does is it breaks down the complex bonds,
Mm-hmm.
and you can consume it without it being cooked. They didn't take long enough rests, other than they had so much time wrapped up in taking care of their horses that they barely had enough time to eat. So they would just tenderize it and pound the hell out of it on their saddles as they rode across the steppes
Huh.
daily. Isn't that nuts?
That is interesting.
That is something to
That's
figure
so
out. That's
interesting.
something to figure out. How the hell do they know about complex bonds? They can't see them.
Well, I don't. It's not that they know about the bonds, but they do understand that they understand before and after cause and effect.
Yeah, if you beat it enough, you can still eat it without cooking it, and that's nuts. That's nuts.
Yeah, if you beat it,
It's like, who was the first person to put tobacco up and just starts lighting on fire and smoking? How does that stuff happen? How do we invent shit like that? Who's the
how
stoner
do we learn to cook
that
food
came
over
up with that
fire?
stuff?
I think a lot of it was probably accidental discoveries. I think a lot of us humans, when we make discoveries like that, a lot of times it's accidental. Even when we're
Who
aiming to make another discovery, we accidentally make this discovery.
Here's one for you. Who the hell figured out that if you start Dark Side of the Moon on the third lion roar, you can see how it matches up in a bunch of different places in Wizard of Oz? Who figured that out and why?
Okay, okay. I'm gonna blow your mind. You know how humans today and then figure that shit out? Drugs. Common denominator:
Here,
drugs, weed, shrooms. I'm not talking about meth. Meth wasn't around caveman days, but they were eating shrooms. They were
medicines.
smoking the ganja. They're eating the ganja. They were eating
Medicines,
animals that
not
ate
drugs.
ganja. I think they're medical drugs. A word again, one of those words that has different contextual meanings.
What a fun conversation. We've really gone some spaces today. This is why I wanted to do this. I knew we'd have a good time with it.
It's like it's an awesome conversation, but stoner talk at the same time. Dig it.
Oh, absolutely.
Dig it.
Awesome Stoner Talk. Maybe that should be the name of our podcast. Awesome Stoner Talk.
Okay.
Maybe we'll
All
go
right.
unnamed for a little while. Maybe we'll go unnamed for a little while. Listeners, give us your opinion. What do you think it should be called?
Ooh, I like that idea. Give us a nickname.
We can't figure it out for ourselves. Do our jobs.
We didn't. I ran out of papers before I reached that thought. So I went to bed.
Josh, this has been a great time, man.
Oh, hell yeah, Mike. Until next week, we record again. But you know what? By the way, you can catch Michael and I on Nonsense and Chill on the Nonsensical Network Friday nights, where we talk movies. Host trivia night once a month. We do. I think this Friday we're going over the upcoming movies coming out this month.
This Friday, April 4th.
Yep, April 4th. Our expectations and our disappointments. So, other than that, Michael, you got anything else for us?
Just have a great week. Keep the red stuff on the inside. Look down at the grass, guys. Don't fucking feed it. And whatever you do, keep your chin up. Do not go toes up.
Deconstruct those beliefs. I'm not saying you don't have to have them, but understand them. And with that, good night, good morning, good afternoon. I haven't decided when we're going to release these yet.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Good night.
And we'll
Good
see
morning.
you next time.
Good evening. Happy lunchtime.